Good morning, I'm Scott Moon for ScottMoonWriter.com. This is take 3. This is getting to be not super efficient, so I should just start reading it. I'm kind of tired. My coffee's hot. I got some water for the voice for reading. I'm going to read some more of Bayonet Dawn. This will be the second half of Chapter 1. And let's see, I don't think it'll be super long today, but I'm pressing on. Welcome to my sound booth in the early morning hours at the Moon House. Alright, so let's get started here. Tension stretched between the advancing aliens and Priest's unit. McCraw, you have the best angle. Laser identify that void troll as VT-01, Priest said. Done, she replied. 5 seconds later, his visor reported locations for VT-02 and VT-03. He scanned visually until he picked them up. There was a lot of theory about how void trolls fought and how they would work with the DU forces. All of it was speculation and science fiction in Priest's opinion. Void trolls were aliens. Scientists could confirm they were carbon-based life forms, and their homeworld was a lot like Earth. Okay, so author's note, the void trolls in the first draft are called carbon trolls. And also, on my days off, I'll probably do this in a different environment. Hopefully I have a little better sound quality and setup, because I won't have to worry about waking everybody up in the family. They were a mystery. The grand nations of Colombia, Peru, and Chile had tangled with the creatures 50 years ago, which led to the CPC collapsing and finally becoming genuine members of the UNA. Alerts swarmed his visor. VT-04, VT-05, VT-06, VT-07, and so on. First platoon to Zulu Recon Company. We have been enveloped by an expanding VT force. No sign of DU advisors or support units, Lacey broadcast. Lieutenant Uriah Jameson, acting company commander with Piper gone, responded after a short pause. How do monsters at that size sneak up on a recon platoon? Lacey didn't respond. Jameson repeated the question. We're about to get busy, Lacey said. Suggest you check your 6 for similar incursions. Command may consider aborting the mission. Despite his lukewarm feelings for Lieutenant Natalia Lacey, Priest shifted in his position of concealment from the pure awkwardness of the communication. His boss had just told her boss's boss the entire operation was foobarred. Stop marking targets, Priest said. There are too many. He turned to where Lacey must be in the night forest. Permission to engage. Roger that. Engage by squads. Cut and peel by squads and fire teams to the extraction point. This is a rout. Let's live to fight another day, people. The word sent chills up Priest's spine. McCraw and Frenchie, strike the first blow, Priest said, keeping his voice steady despite his pounding heart and exploding visor warnings. The Void Troll Division had made good time since Lacey saw them during her drop, and the dissonant Union advisory pairs, translation Super Commandos, were no longer in their famous two-man teams, but full combat units with heavy weapons and supporting artillery. Henrietta McCraw and Francis Frenchie Walden fired controlled bursts to draw forward the first 2 enemies. Priest and the rest of Alpha, Charlie, and Delta squads opened fire as 2 giants rushed forward. He wasn't sure what happened to Bravo, but they were nowhere he could detect them without sensors. Water, gravel, and mud sprayed into the air from the driving feet of the Void Trolls. Both of the micro-bullet-riddled creatures bent their heads forward. Moonlight cut shadows behind them, alternately revealing trees and other aggressors. McGraw, can you determine their armor level? Priest asked, hoping there was none. 1 moment, Priest said, reloading. Not sure. Have to check the video later. Falling back with Frenchie. Roger, Priest said. Kim's and Nate. Already there, Kim said, adjusting his position to lay down a withering stream of heavy machine gun fire on Found a typo. Remember when I said that they were called carbon trolls? Well, right here they're marked in this paperback version as CT01 and CT02. They should be VT01 and VT02. Lacey called in airstrikes. Second platoon moved forward to support, followed by third platoon. Priest moved first platoon back by the numbers, leaving his lieutenant free to concentrate on getting help. He wasn't listening for political overtones, but thought Jameson was displeased with everything Lacey did. A scream cut across all communications bands. Priest looked toward the last place he saw Lacey. Holy fuck, holy fuck, holy fuck, McCraw panted. Oh, yeah, and I forgot. Could be profanity. Will be profanity. So, if you don't like it or it's really bothersome, leave some comments, please, and I'll edit it out when I read in the future. Priest jerked his head to the right just in time to see Corporal Henrietta McCraw charging from cover, abandoning all military discipline and her squad as she made for the void troll that was slamming Lacey against a tree. Frenchie, take first platoon to link up with second and third. Priest ran, shooting over McCraw's head, then angling to one side as the terrain no longer allowed the dubious tactic. He was fast, not as explosive as McCraw, who had track scholarships to go to officer candidate school but told everyone to go to hell, reasons unknown. He realized with a small part of his tactical awareness she was allowing him to catch up and complement her advance. Her cursing and breathing over the general band never stopped. She had forgotten to override her emergency comlink, just as Lacey had when snatched from the promontory she'd been using to signal an orbital bombardment. Other than grunting, cursing, screaming, and breaking ranks, McCraw was keeping her shit together. I'm on your right, McCraw, Priest said. There's no fucking way she's alive, McCraw yelled, hurting Priest's ears inside his helmet. Then leave her and do your job, Jameson said, with the authority of the acting company commander. He's probably right, Priest thought, with a sick lump in his heart. Jumping onto a boulder, he blasted supersonic fletchlets into VT-27 at point-blank range. One amber eye exploded as he streamed in death and destruction, ducking the rock-like arm that swiped at him. I have her, McCraw said. Can't pick her up. Is your armor damaged? Priest asked as hellfire and damnation burst from a ridge to devastate the front ranks of the Void Troll advance. No, she said, I just can't. Priest thought McCraw was crying as she stood protectively over the downed lieutenant and fired her weapon into the tree line. Everything became confused. All he could think as he carried Lacey over his shoulder was how light she was and how he had speed-taped her helmet back together, knowing she would suffocate even if she somehow survived the heavy-handed first aid. The damage to her face wouldn't even register. He thought she had 3 arms, 1 leg, and her armor seemed to be on backward. Other casualties scrolled across his visor. He didn't see McCraw listed and wondered if that was a good thing. Frenchie's name came up with a ridiculous medical abbreviation, for chronic nausea, and he ignored it like he ignored all the others. Running with an officer over his shoulder proved to be exponentially more difficult as he went uphill, despite his Marauder recon armor. Priest to command. First platoon is combat ineffective. Falling back in earnest. Request evacuation. Command to Zulu Recon Company. The 343rd is all in for the rest of the mission. Planetary assault in progress. The 909th and 911th Army Rangers are deploying to flank and enfilade the enemy lines. Hold on, this is about to get real. Alpha Squad, Priest grunted as he ran between hastily constructed firing positions he didn't recognize. He didn't know who to contact, and his mind took a dump. This wasn't his first combat action and wasn't even the worst, yet all he could do was move and hope someone was covering him. No one from his squad or platoon answered. Priest, this is Travis. I sent everyone from ZRC to the rear. Keep moving until a medic finds you, a voice said. He couldn't put a face to the familiar-sounding voice. Something bit his lower leg, too small to be a void troll weapon and heading in the wrong direction to be friendly fire, he thought. A celebratory voice slipped into his ear with the distinctive clarity of a team that was broadcasting from inside an extraction transport ship. "We have the doctor. Once we hand him off, we're back in it with you. Marauders, hoorah!" A moment later, the familiar bustle of a Marauder forward base surrounded Priest. "I puked a little," Frenchie said. Still holding Lacey over his shoulder, he turned to see Frenchie sitting with a medic. Vomit streaked his helmet where filters had purged a prodigious amount of his stomach fluid onto the exterior of his armor. McCraw stood right behind Priest, bent at the waist with her hands on her knees to catch her breath. Her comms were offline. He hadn't realized she was still with him for the last half mile. Medics pulled Lacey from his shoulder and put her on a stretcher. "Is she alive?" "Sure, Gunny. Get yourself checked out," a medic said without looking at him. "I'm counting this mission as a win," wheezed Frenchie. McCraw punched him in the face, knocking him over the junior medic, treating him for injuries that were more serious than nausea. "Marauders recovered the doctor and started a war," Priest said. Corporal McCraw nodded as Priest tried to sit but missed whatever he thought was underneath him and fell on his ass. Okay, I'm going to stop there, and I'll move my little bookmark. Trying to remember that we're on Chapter 2. I hope everybody that's watching this or has watched this, likes it so far. I'll get better reading, I promise. It's kind of different. I love audiobooks. I'm definitely not a narrator. I would like to someday get a quality sound studio and then edit out all the places that I clear my throat or catch my breath and just kind of do that. I'd consider getting somebody with some really good talent to do like the voices and dialogue and stuff, but we'll see. That's not really why we're here. Why I'm doing this is because I'd like to, share my story around. I know that I listen to a lot of podcasts, and right now I'm listening to them mostly on YouTube because I had to buy the unlimited data plan. It's kind of a long story, but basically involves, how my kids would play with my phone and run my data up. So we went to unlimited data. Now I can watch YouTube or listen to it wherever. Having said that, I know that if I really want people to listen to this as a podcast, I should upload it to Podbean or something like that. So what's the plan? Well, I'll probably talk to Josh Hayes of Keystroke Medium. Ask him how he handles our podcast uploading and stuff from there. He showed me a long time ago, but mostly he just has been doing it. So if you are interested in the craft of writing, or you're a writer, or you know somebody who's a writer, I'd encourage you to go over to Keystroke Medium. And we have lots of interviews, mostly science fiction, but also some fantasy, even a couple of romance authors on there. We've interviewed voice narrators and cover artists, all kinds of people. And the Keystroke Medium community is really cool. We have a lot of people that will come and watch the show on a regular basis, and we have a good time. So go check that out. There's not much more story going on in this episode of Bayonet Dawn. I'm just kind of talking because I have warm coffee in my hand. We'll see. It's going to be fun. I'm going to get better at this, and we'll do some more. Like I said, I'm going to do the whole book, and maybe it'll get people interested in the series and they'll like it. Oh, that's what I needed to say. If you have read Bayonet Dawn, the sequel is also out on Amazon. They're available in paperback or digital book and Kindle Unlimited. If you've read them, please leave me a review. I mean, obviously I hope for a good review. If you want to tell me something private you did or didn't like about the book, you can email me at, let's just use for this purposes, scottmoonwriter@gmail.com, or go to my website. You can join my mailing list. and we'll put some stuff up there from time to time. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the reading. Got any suggestions for how I should read better or different? Let me know, and please like and subscribe. Go over to Keystroke Medium, like and subscribe there, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Have a great day.